and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Experts. Today, I must say that this has become my favorite show. I'm sure it's not the best thing to say when you have 80 different experts around the country, but I love doing this show. I know we're going to touch somebody. If we can just touch one person each week, I'm going to feel good. Before we start the show today, I have got to do this. Um, I want everybody to add to their prayers all the people in Israel. Um, uh, it's so sad what's going on there, and for both sides too. I'm talking about people in Palestine and the people in Israel, and I just wanted to start off the show today with a prayer for them. Um, Anyhow, let's get on with the show. Let me introduce you to my friend, Dr. Gupta. Hey, Dr. Gupta.
Hey, Steve. Yeah, it's just so tragic on both sides. It's just suffering like everywhere.
Well, you're an MD, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but there was a hospital bomb this afternoon.
I saw that today. Yeah, I saw that. I just can't even
imagine. Really sad.
Yeah.
But I guess we have to go on with our lives.
Yeah.
And I'm sure glad that you're here today with Dr. Gupta. And I was telling Dr. Gupta that I have a friend, a special friend of mine who lives in California, Orange County, watched our show I guess it's been about a month ago. This lady is so much into anything that has to do with self-improvement.
Yeah.
So she's could be 2 pounds overweight in her mind, and God forbid for her. So she watched the show, I guess about a month ago, and now she's busy trying to get all of her girlfriends together.
That's amazing.
I don't know how you're going to do it with them, through Zoom or because they're all in Orange County.
Whatever they prefer.
Yeah. So, but anyway, how are things at Mindful Weight Loss?
Everything's good. Things are growing. We're basically starting our mindful menopause line, to help take some of, if viewers have seen us before, but kind of like some of our approach into that world and starting, continue to build up the mindful healthy kids. But really like the big idea will be to create, this thing called mindful wellness, which I already have the domain mindfulwellness.com. But really how I want to describe it is a concierge preventative health. So really helping people with wellness decades before the end result of multiple disease states. And, I know there's a lot of this in the world today, which is good, right? Like I think more and more people are thinking of wellness. I do see, unfortunately, there's a lot of just marketing only. And so what we seek to do is actually kind of be like a trusted, like kind of the real deal, right? And, we provide evidence-based medicine with a combination of true like therapy, mindfulness, coaching, classes, one-on-one, like multiple one-on-one appointments throughout the month. Being really supportive, holistic, comprehensive is the way to truly create sustainable change.
And we talk about this all the time. By time adults come to you, they have tried so many things, Dr. Gupta.
Sure.
And they do know that some things they did lose some weight on, but they always ended up gaining it all back.
Yes.
And it's just because most of the programs out there are not really long-term.
Yeah.
What you've developed is long-term.
Yes. That's the key thing, right? Because this is biologically difficult, right? That's number one. And there's multiple reasons for that. And we've had a lot of good studies recently, but that have shown that when we lose weight, our hunger hormones, irrespective of where we start, our hunger hormones are actually increased, right? The there's like all sorts of adaptations your body does because of that's the set point our body has established with the environment, right? So from a body's perspective, it makes us hungry, it makes us not want to move much. It does things like changes our perception of how much we ate, where we think we actually ate less than we actually do, and that's measured by brain scans. But the hardest thing about it is that our metabolism actually decreases also. So you got to actually eat less just to maintain. So all of these things are fighting against us, right? So we really have to understand that when we approach this really difficult thing of weight loss, right? And so what we do is actually build in sustainability right from the beginning, right? So this isn't like, let's lose like 30 pounds in a week, right? This is about, let's figure out what are the causes and conditions of our lives that result in this and work on those slowly, sustainably, with compassion towards our time, energy, desire. It's the only way to do this in an actual, effective, sustainable way.
You know, Dr. Gupta, I always think about how I've used a lot of different supplement stores, but there's also weight loss companies out there. But think about this: it's all with you. No matter who you are, they're going to tell you to do the same thing.
Yes.
And not everybody's body is the same. I want to get this in here. This is from Carrie in Beverly Hills. She said, I listened to your show twice. You make a lot of sense, but no matter if I starve myself or gorge, it never seems to work. I also wonder how much my workout is helping me or not.
It's a really good question, right? Yeah. And I think one thing to, I think so often, right? Like we think we have to change everything about our life to get this done, right? And we have to suffer. But what that does is it builds up all of this other negativity in our life that just makes us feel so bad about ourselves, which makes us even harder and harder. Mm-hmm. And I think the way to really understand is the difference between weight loss and not weight loss is razor thin, right? It comes down to very few calories in the day. And additionally, right, we think that, well, the workout question is interesting. Unfortunately, our body compensates. Like it's good for a lot of things. Cardio is good for a lot of things, especially our minds, our brains, our mental status. Unfortunately, our body compensates for that. And resistance training, if we take working out specifically, is the key thing to do for that listener, really working on building muscle strength. But in terms of the other stuff, in terms of nutrition, what we do in our clinic is systematically go through everything and figure out where are those interventions, right? And again, as you mentioned, like people have tried all the things by the time they come to us, right? So we're able to look at people's lives and like change this approach, which is primarily about suffering, being miserable, depriving ourselves, feeling bad about ourselves, to more about let's look at the like cards on the table, right? Let's look at what's going on. Let's look at everything, right? Like your job, your relationship, your commute, like what do you like to eat, a billion things. And from that, and if we take those things with compassion and empathy, then we can truly find what works. And it's been successful time and time again for a lot of our patients.
Here's guys, you can hear it. We're getting a lot of text messages. Steve in Long Beach said, I heard about your show. I tuned in for the first time last month. I want to hear one or two more shows before I schedule an appointment with you. Can you go over the first thing you do once we come in for the first class?
Sure. So what we do is a one-on-one appointment where we talk to you for an hour. Right. And, you know, in a lot of healthcare, you don't really, unfortunately, have that as much anymore, whether it's insurance based or any of these companies you see online, because we've done some recon on a lot of them. You don't talk to that provider for an hour. Right. And so like the best way to describe it is we really get to know you and your life and everything in comprehensive detail. Right. And as you said, Steve, you can't really help people unless you get to know them. And that's kind of the primary purpose of that first visit. From there, we meet like on a monthly basis, but even beyond that, we have unlimited health coach appointments. Then we also meet with people if they need to before, if like someone has any, side effects or not losing weight or just a million reasons why, or just other reasons, not even thing that we're treating. We help our patients with kind of everything. We also have like all the slate of classes that range from like daily meditation with myself to like nutrition to breath work to like resistance training guidance to walks like on the pier and stuff. So both virtual and in person, no matter where you are. So we really believe, right, and have seen empirically that all of this, like this high touch approach, all of this stuff that's related to everything else in people's lives is the way to do this.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
I'm looking at all these texts. We just got another one from Beverly Hills. I found your show accidentally, and I'm so glad I did. Does my overweight cause me to have, you and I talked about this, high blood pressure and headaches?
Yeah, so definitely, excess weight unfortunately contributes to high blood pressure. The headaches, I'd need to know more information. It could. There's something called pseudotumor cerebri, which can contribute to that, like which is intracranial hypertension. But it require like a further medical history and stuff, or just like talking to them for a little bit longer.
Okay. Karen in Malibu, she wants to know how much of a role does medication play in weight loss?
So that has to be taken in a lot of different ways, but we have these revolutionary new molecules, which we definitely use and are key to, are like a really vital part. But in addition to everything else we do, we use them in their appropriate place, which is as tools to help us make all these other sustainable changes. And we dose them as opposed, again, to what I see, which is 5-minute appointments, or even like just text-based, like people are prescribing. I had patients show me like what they were using before, and it was just based on text on like an app, and people are prescribing it, which I don't think is ethical. But otherwise, another way to take that question is a lot of like medications we're on can contribute, right? So we're on different things for different reasons. So no one should stop their medications without like talking to a doctor or something. But things like a beta blocker, for instance, right? We can like titrate the beta blocker to a different type of beta blocker that has less weight gaining properties. Or people don't know, like an antihistamine, like Benadryl, for instance, can contribute to gaining weight. So it's weight's more complicated than I think that is commonly thought about. And there's a bunch of things that can influence it.
Here is Brad in Inglewood wants to know, you see about all these supplements that make you lose weight. Are those really true?
I'm skeptical of basically all of them. I haven't come across something that like I could endorse myself. I think most of it's marketing. Most supplements are not regulated in any way, so they can kind of say whatever they want. So, in my opinion, I would say no. But I'm happy if there's a supplement maker or something to like look at the data or something. But right now I haven't come across any.
Dr. Gupta, you came up with a great idea and have taken on a new partner, and it starts with pediatrics. Tell people about that.
So we have this brand that we're starting called Mindful Healthy Kids. It's basically treating kids between the ages of 12 and 17. I say on every show, that's near and dear to me because I've struggled with weight when I was a kid, and it was really difficult. And we all went to high school. We know like all of the reasons why it can be difficult, but we use our approach in that world, right? And because the thing is that everyone has an inherent desire to be healthy and well, right? And I think like people, the medical community, but a lot of us don't see that. And there's so many things that bury that desire, right? Like whether it's addictive foods or just the guilt and shame, the depression, just like a billion things, the work, the stress, our partners, like a lot of stuff that can like potentially, make it so that's kind of hidden more, right? And so I think especially with kids, so often like like adults are used to talking to kids like, do this, why aren't you doing this, right? And I have 4 daughters myself, so I see this in practice. But I think that for kids who struggle with this, right, which again leads to things that we're seeing for the first time in like this population, which is sleep apnea, diabetes, hypertension, right? like we we basically have to figure out like lifestyle or things that can work, that vibe with what they like to do with their whole lives, instead of what often these kids have to go through, is to just more guilt and shame by everyone around them, even like their parents, who inadvertently, like, they're doing it out of love and fear and care, but we have to like work through those issues within a family, right, to help come up with something that actually works.
Hey, oh, here's a call from Sacramento. Marge wants to know, how does it work if your offices are in Southern California and I'm way up here?
So with the advent, one of the, like during COVID, one of the positive things is that video like has become more prominent, right? And I feel you could treat people very effectively over video. We substitute any like the in-person care, which I would argue is not as effective for seeing somebody for 5 minutes or 15 minutes, even once a year or something, by the fact that we're always available, right? We have a concierge type service. Our patients, if they have any symptoms, they reach out to us right away and we get a hold of them. We book them an appointment right away. So we see everybody over Zoom, and it's been very effective, and it allows us to help so many more people like everywhere. And we're actually boarded in 10 different states right now, and we're expanding fast. So we are able to help people in a lot of different places in the country.
I am telling you, I think I shocked you last week when you were on the show that one of the most famous doctors, weight loss doctors,
Yeah, Dr. Ornish.
Yeah,
You
Dean
got to
Ornish.
introduce me. I would love to meet him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, with the way you are setting up your new practice, I am telling you, you are going to be so well known.
You're very
regarding
sweet.
weight loss. I just, because you're doing it the right way. I don't think I've asked you this question before, but why is mindful weight loss the best route to go?
Because so what I feel is that this is the best route, because I've seen, again, I've done recon, I see this world, right, that's out there. There's like a billion companies right now that are generating, it's like, I don't know, it's like $1 billion industry, right, to help people, or like saying they can help people, lose weight. I think often all of it comes down to the same type of thing. It's like, do this, right? Like everybody, like a cookie cutter plan. Or even if they talk to people, it's always like, oh, you can try harder. You can do this more, right? I think that like really it's all wrong, right? You have to understand that this is not like a function of any individual self. This is a function of our bodies in this environment. And under truly like internalizing that, which is very opposite than everything else that we hear, helps us really practice the self-compassion we need to figure out what actually truly works, right? And you understand the science that there's not a right answer, right? It's not like some of the common things like that are out there, like, oh, don't eat artificial sweeteners, or don't eat in the night, or always eat breakfast. There's a lot of stuff that's not necessarily accurately true, and it actually is destructive, because it gets everyone into this like perfectionist thinking that you have to do all the things, and that's the only way it'll work, right? Instead, we look at like somebody's life, right? We talk to them with empathy and compassion, and using that, we can find things that can truly work, taking into account everything though, right? Like nothing's off the table. There's zero judgment at all. And I make sure like when I hire people, that's like a key thing, right? And, it's just the most important aspect of it, right? Because this is hard. It's hard for a reason. I've struggled with weight. This isn't like there's some lucky chosen few that can do this, right? It's just like we can all do this, but you can only like start by helping to unlearn all of the guilt and shame that unfortunately we've been conditioned with forever. And that's what we do. And it's been very helpful to a lot of people.
Well, here's the part that I hate about this show. It goes by so fast.
Mhm.
It's the fastest 25 minutes in media. Let's give everybody your phone number and
Of
your
course.
website.
Of course. So the number is 310-220-4543. Again, 310-220-4543. So just text, call. We have people available all the time. And then mindfulweightloss.com.
Very good. And we're going to be doing Nevada tomorrow, you and
Yeah,
I.
early in the morning.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, thank you so much. I love you, bro.
Thank you, Steve.
I'll see you
Very
tomorrow.
sweet. Talk to you soon.
It's Dr. Gupta. I'm telling you, if you are trying to lose weight, Dr. Gupta has been with us for probably about 5 months. And every time I learn something new that is just has helped me a lot. And I hope you'll give him a call because we know that you've probably tried a lot of different things and most maybe some worked in the beginning, but they ended up crashing and you ended up putting all the weight back on. We're going to go to our next expert right now. This is another show that's really dear to my heart. And one of the reasons why is I have sleep apnea. I ran an ad today on, it's not an ad, it's a promotion about this show, this one right now. And what is so amazing about it is I snored, I have sleep apnea, but I'm going to let our expert, uh, Janet Bennett, I'm just going to sit back and listen because I have learned so much from her techniques, which I do now every day. Let me introduce you to Janet Bennett.
Hi.
Janet, see, you didn't know I'm doing my little. I don't do everything every morning. Sometimes I do two or three of the steps, but you know what? It's working for me though,
Well,
and
imagine that. That's great.
so I'm going to kind of sit back, Janet, because first of all, the people, I want you to understand. I understand snoring. I denied it for years. So what Janet is going to talk about today, I started about a month and a half ago, and I rarely wear my my BiPAP machine. So I understand. So Janet, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I really am glad to be here. And I want to educate our listeners and our viewers on really what snoring is and how it can lead to sleep apnea and the easy way that we can treat it nowadays.
Yes,
So I'll take you back to 2003.
my
I was
favorite story.
my story. I was treating. I know you're tired of this story,
I
Steve.
love this story because I know what it feels like.
I was treating a 14-year-old football player I'm a speech pathologist, and so I was treating him for a tongue thrust. Now, a tongue thrust, if you don't know, is when a person swallows incorrectly, and that means when they swallow, their tongue pushes the back of their teeth when they swallow, and it might make them have buck teeth. You've seen people with buck teeth. Or if their tongue comes out between their teeth, they'll have an open bite where their teeth don't even meet. So he had one of those. And so I was treating him. And the way I was treating him was with tongue exercises because you see, the tongue was coming too far forward. So it just makes sense, since the tongue is all muscles, it just makes sense that we train those muscles to put the tongue back a little farther so it can't touch the teeth. We did retraction exercises. Anyway, I have a 7-week program. So he had done 2 weeks worth of exercises and he came into my office on the third week and his mother said, "What are you doing to Adam?" And I said, I don't know. What do you mean? And she said, well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world. He rattles our windows, and now he's not making a sound. Well, I didn't know anything about snoring. And so I looked at Adam and I said, well, Adam, tell me more. What's going on? And he said, well, I'm doing better in school. I can concentrate better and focus. My grades are getting better, and I run faster. Remember, he's a football player, and he told me he ran faster. Well, I didn't know anything about snoring. So I just heard run faster, and I thought, well, that's important. There are some people out there who would like to be able to run faster. And if I know I'm going to go get on the internet and find that they fix snoring with tongue exercises, or they teach them to run faster with tongue exercises. But that's not what I found. What I found was that to stop snoring, they wanted to maybe cut off part of your uvula, that thing that hangs down in the back, or break your jaw and pull it forward so your airway's bigger, or sell you a $6,000 appliance that I know one appliance that I know about, and it was owned and invented, I think, by my personal dentist. But it's this big thing that he put in his mouth, and it had a hole in the middle of it. So he would stick his tongue out between that hole. And so while he was sleeping, it held his tongue out there all night. Just sticking anyway. So that was horrible. But so what I didn't find anything about tongue exercises. What I did find is all the things that they've suggested and they offered, none of them were working for people, not even the CPAP machine. At that time, it was known that only 4% of the CPAP owners used them. Only 4%. Now you think about all those other people, who had sleep apnea, and they were getting lost because they had put their CPAP machine in a closet, and they weren't going to dare go back to their sleep doctor. They weren't going to go back because they didn't want to do that thing. They didn't know what else to do. Now, why is that so important? Let's go back to that tongue thrust. When a person thrusts their tongue, they lay down to sleep, their tongue is going to help open up their lips while they're sleeping, and they become mouth breathers. Okay? So when you're breathing through your mouth, it's easy to make those snoring sounds. Snoring is just, it's just the sound that makes with the air goes back and forth. But what really causes that is while you're sleeping, gravity takes over a little bit, and part of your tongue wants to creep back and partially block your airway. And that's when the air occurs and it makes that snoring sound. Okay, that's not a medical issue. Well, our medical society doesn't call it a medical issue because they don't stop and think, well, wait a minute, the person's mouth breathing while they're doing that, and that's dangerous. So anyway, whenever a person snores long enough, years, snoring gets louder and louder, and one day their significant other or whoever who's sleeping with them hears the person stop breathing, and they'll go like this. And that's what the person next to them will hear, and they'll shake them, wake up, wake up. And so, they wake up, and when they do, what's happened is their whole tongue has blocked their airway, the whole tongue, and they stop breathing. And so they wake up like this. They snort themselves away. Okay.
You do this all night long. Yes. That's why the football player was tired. I was always tired.
That's right. That's right. And some people, okay, so when you go to get a sleep study done, what they're doing is they're measuring how many times per hour you do that. Because your heart stops beating every time you do that. You have to wake up that way.
You literally stop breathing.
Yes, you do.
God made us, that's what wakes us up, is the snore. But
That's
that's
right.
why your football player was always tired, because I would never get a good night's sleep
Right.
ever.
Right. Now, the reason you didn't get a good night's sleep is because you were breathing through your mouth. See, now I'm jumping to another medical problem. It's like if I treat or when I treat a tongue thrust, I not only treat the tongue thrust, I treat the way they breathe and the way they swallow and the way they sleep. All of those things are tied in together. And when you breathe in through your mouth, you breathe in dirty, cold air. When you breathe in through your nose, you breathe in warm, clean, warm air because of those little hairs in your nose.
Why is your
Okay.
tongue so dry overnight? Your mouth
Well,
is dry, and your eyelids stick together.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, it was like dry eye.
Dry. Oh, okay. Dry eye. Well, okay. I don't know about that.
I
But
have
yeah,
not had it since I've been on your program.
you never told me you had
Yeah,
that and
well,
that
it's
it
like
went
I
away.
just thought about it because when I wake up in the morning, my eyes would be stuck together. And so the pharmacist said, "Oh, you've got dry eye." But since I started doing your technique, I don't have that in the morning.
Oh my, there's another thing to add to my list of
Yeah.
symptoms. Dry eye.
Is that why my mouth was so dry in the morning when I woke up?
Well, yeah. So there are many symptoms of mouth breathing because a lot of people don't know if they breathe through their mouth. So if you wake up in the morning and your mouth is dry, it is because you took that air in and out all night long. And the only thing it could do was dry out all the tissues. I've even had people referred to me by their, excuse me, ear, nose, and throat doctor that their voice was hoarse. Well, they didn't sound hoarse to me. So when I investigated, it turned out they were mouth breathers and it dried out their larynx so much that the doctor didn't find anything when he put that little thing down their nose to look at the vocal cords, but it was because they were dehydrated because of breathing through their mouth. Breathing through your mouth can cause you to wake up with a headache that goes away pretty quickly. It can cause you to wake up with a sore throat that goes away pretty quickly. It causes you to have trouble concentrating in the afternoon and have daytime sleepiness. Daytime sleepiness is huge. It is a dead giveaway that you are not sleeping good at night.
Right.
As long as you're in the bed for 7 to 8 hours, there is no reason to wake up tired if you're sleeping well.
It's very dangerous when you're driving, Janet.
Oh, I know. And the truck driving industry is one I would love to be able to talk to about this because it is very dangerous to not just the drivers, but of course us. So yeah, mouth breathing is a huge thing. Another part about this that you need to know, and I want the viewers and the listeners to Google this. I want you to Google nitric, Nitric, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas that we make, and we make this gas so that it can rejuvenate all different parts of our body. It gets the oxygen flowing correctly, the amount of oxygen, the blood flow. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know all the fancy
Sounds
words,
good to me.
but it touches on just about all of our organs. It's very important to our body. Okay, so what does that say about this? When you mouth nitric oxide first is made here in your nasal sinus area. So when you breathe through your mouth, you cannot get access to that nitric oxide. You must breathe through your nose so it can be in contact with that nitric oxide so your body can take advantage of it. So you read about that and understand why mouth breathing is so important. I have a program that addresses mouth breathing, and it makes it very simple for you to get into a new habit of doing that. Okay, so we want to stop the sleep apnea. And I cannot say that I stop sleep apnea because it's a medical problem and I'm not a doctor, but here's what I can say. I can say that my program will help you stop snoring. And if you stop snoring, your mouth is closed while you're sleeping, and there's no way that you can get sleep apnea. Okay? So, to all of you out there who are waking up tired and wishing you could just sleep for 5 more minutes, this program is for you. And this is how easy it is. So, I have exercises for you to do to practice every week, just like Steve did.
You're
And
easy.
there are 7, is that right? 7 lessons, and you do a lesson every week. The program is available online, and it's like a table of contents. You go to lesson 1, and it shows you how to do all of the exercises for lesson 1. For example, the very first, well, not the very first, but one of the 3 exercises is this. It's Okay, I have to teach you where the magic spot is. Okay, so there's a magic spot that you have to learn to put your tongue on so that you swallow correctly. And so it helps you breathe through your nose also. So I want you to say the word door. Say door out loud and think about where does your tongue push for that duh sound? You've never had to think about it, but it's right behind your front teeth, up on the skin part behind your teeth, the smooth part before it gets to those ridges. So duh, duh. You put your tongue on that spot. It's a real important spot. And you close your lips. Don't let the tongue come off the spot. And you sit there for 5 minutes. Now I'm giving you a very important exercise to do. And as soon as you're through listening to me, you need to start doing that exercise. Do it for 5 minutes, at least 2 or 3 times a day. And that will help you get in the habit of where your tongue should be. So each week you will see, you'll be able to go to a video and you will see me showing an adult male how to do every exercise. It's super easy. And then whenever you have to go practice that day, I have another video where you can click on lesson 1 or whatever, and I am there in my office waiting for you to come in and do your exercises with me. I call it my exercise room. I will count for you. I will time things for you. All you have to do is copy me. It can't be any easier. And people start feeling results on all kinds of different symptoms pretty quickly. Okay, so there are lots of symptoms like, and you'd never think about this, but do you wake up with messy sheets? Well, what in the heck does messy sheets have to do with breathing? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So messy sheets tell me that you are a restless sleeper. And the reason you're a restless sleeper is because you're mouth breathing. Okay? And your tongue is floating around in your mouth. It doesn't know where to go. Some
Janet, it
people,
is very embarrassing when you're considered a snorer. I mean, people will tell you, hey, you were snoring, I couldn't sleep. And I am telling you, and some people continue on because the CPAP machine, I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's so uncomfortable to sleep in at night.
right.
And what Janet's program has done is, first of all, it works. And I got to tell you, I understand how embarrassing it is when people say, "Oh, you snored so loud last night." It's embarrassing.
It is.
You can't help it.
It
But
is.
it's really important that if you know someone who snores, are you in a relationship, someone who snores, I'm telling you, this is the best program out there. And what I love about Janet, she didn't say, you know what, I got something that's going to make you put your CPAP machine away. She's very honest with you, and she doesn't try to be your doctor or something. And everything about her program, I am telling you, if you snore or know someone who does, I'm telling you, I am blown away that it worked for me.
Ah, that's great. I'm blown away that you did all the exercises too.
I know. Well, you know what? It's so good with her video. The video is there's 6 or 7 exercises you do, and they're all important. So
Mhm.
you want to, you want to do them. But listen, think about, do I want to do the exercises, or do I want to sleep at the machine for the rest of my life? That's a
Let's think
no-brainer.
about that. Hmm.
That's a no-brainer.
That's good. That's right. That's right. Thank you, Steve.
And
Now,
you didn't even know about the eyes. I don't know why I never
oh, I know.
but I had dry eye, which made my eyes stick together. And it had to be because my mouth was open at night when I would breathe.
Well, it must have something to do with hydration.
Yeah. Well,
You
because
know?
it doesn't do it anymore.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I want to hit on one other thing, especially a lot of people have a tongue that is way too wide for their mouth. Okay? And sometimes when they talk, well, if a person's tongue is way too wide for their mouth, you can see it when they're talking to you. You can see their tongue all over the place. Sometimes they bite the sides of their tongue. I think you used to do that, right, Steve?
I did. I used to bite my tongue.
Right, and I think maybe by lesson 2, you had stopped biting
It
the
was
sides of your
amazing.
tongue. Now,
I
how in the
did.
world did
My
you
tongue
do
was
that?
so big from my mouth, and I never knew what it was.
So how did you stop doing that?
Yep. I call it my toothbrush, my
Yeah.
green toothbrush.
Okay, so I had to come up with a way to make the tongue skinnier, right? Because what you're gonna do is you are gonna train your tongue to live up on the roof of your mouth. And when you lay down to sleep and your tongue is suctioned on the roof of your mouth, think about it, visualize this. Your tongue will not fall down and block your airway and make you snore or help it to lead to sleep apnea. It just will not happen. That's what this is really all about. You learn how to breathe through your nose and keep your tongue up there, and you will wake up feeling like $1,000,000. Okay? But this is called a tongue stick. Couldn't think of another word. Tongue stick. And this you will learn how to use. You'll get a special package from me with this tongue stick, and you will learn how to use it on your tongue to hit certain muscles that will actually make the muscles tickle and go like this, and when they do, it makes your tongue skinnier. I know you're laughing right now. How ridiculous is
No, I'm
that?
not laughing.
And then will it go back? Well, those your tongue muscles have muscle memory. Okay. So they're going to remember where you get them. You can get your tongue as skinny as you want. Well, as skinny as you want to, but seriously, it works really well. So, and it's not harmful, not at all. Yeah. So that helps you talk better. A lot of people have a lisp, so that the S is not clear, and the reason is their tongue is too far forward, lisp, too far forward in their mouth, and it makes the S a distorted sound. I just worked with a man in his 50s who is an actor and a playwright, and he has had a lisp all of his life. And it's been his whole life. He's been concerned and worried about it. He's been everywhere to fix that lisp. And everywhere he went, they would try to just say, listen to me, copy. And it's so hard to tell you where you're putting your tongue to make that sound. But the important thing is the therapist who worked with him, I'm sure they are fine therapists, but they didn't know to work on the muscles. So you've got to make your muscles. We work with all of the muscles of the tongue and make them stronger and retract. They retract the tongue. So this guy came to me after week 3. His S was just as crisp as it could be. And he just couldn't believe it because all we did was some tongue exercises that helped him make his tongue stay back. So any age can get rid of a lisp. Other things that can go wrong, if you will, are just feeling so bad that you lose your ability to concentrate well. And like Steve was saying, driving can be hazardous if you work with machinery. You know, dangerous things, it can really be dangerous for you. And
Janet, we've only got about 2 minutes left.
okay,
First of all,
wait.
give everybody your phone number and your website.
After I say that there is a 60-day money-back guarantee on this program, that's how much we believe in it. Okay, so my name is Janet Bennett. My phone number is 828-273-9888. 2 websites, correctmytonguethrust.com or ijustwanttosleep.com. Email me. I will answer you back. Yeah, it's
Main thing is it works. And I tried everything out there. And this, besides the CPAP machine, this works. And this is, God, we got Christmas coming up. What a great Christmas present.
That's right. That's right. And
What a
think
great
about this. If you have someone else in your family who snores or has sleep apnea or whatever, they can do the program also. No extra charge for that, which is great. It's great. And I know I didn't give you my email address, but when you go to the websites, you can chat with me or contact me. And it's that easy to get in touch with me. So I will contact you back and we can chat. And whenever a person purchases this 7-week program, they now get a free 45-minute consult with me over Zoom. And that's everybody who does it, they enjoy it. It helps give them faith that this could work with them and confidence that they can do the exercises. And that's what it's all about.
And listen, we'll be back with you again next month.
Great.
Janet, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully we helped everybody say. See y'all next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.